It is good to have these kinds of discussions.
I myself am very happy that Buensalido Architects was able to launch B+Abble this year.
It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today.
I think it is also especially relevant during the times that we live in today.
I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to be able to share my ideas about Philippine architecture.
The idea of the future of architecture.
Thank you, and we officially welcome you to B+Abble 2020.
If we are faithful to the now, because the now is what we know, somehow
Architecture being a slow process of production, you try to look into the future as far as you can.
One thing that was very refreshing for me is that the discussion went to the roots and to the fundamentals of design, especially the concept of utilitas and venustas.
from my experience and the way that we work with my team, I mean, it's always been a kind of faith and a fealty to the requirements at hand, and that I mentioned earlier, that is the authenticity of our response.
In the practice, that's actually at the center of what we do. Is we try to explore and experiment on ways on how to manifest who we are as a collective, as a people, in the built environment. And so when you talk about identity and authenticity, I think it should always just be about being and becoming. That's it.
That's what I appreciate about Carlos' work, and also Jason's work and other architects, also Filipino architects, that are exploring what are the possibilities. And so you're not limiting what it means to be Filipino. Allow yourself to experiment over time.
Imagine that used to be a school, and then now it's a cockpit, and what if it becomes another? It's a kind of cinema sequel, and I think that's the idea of storytelling. And for me, that is the innovation and the kind of things that I'm interested in, and there's so much richness that you see in all what we have, right? The
Filipinos and our culture and our lifestyle has always been changing. Considering that the vernacular is so dynamic and always changing, do we get to define the vernacular?
If you look at the word define, it comes from the Latin definere, which means to limit, to find the boundaries. And so I think that mindset can be limiting then also to us. Why do we need to limit it? Why can we not sort of expand our idea that it's not about defining what is a vernacular or defining what is Filipino, but rather looking at and discovering the possibilities of Filipino architecture?
For me, my context will always be the kind of, a lot of inspiration that you see around the grit and all of these things, the marketplace and everything that is surrounding the eccentricities of Manila. If you encapsulate that in an abstract way and you create new atmospheres and you celebrate the cultural diversity, for me, I don't think it's global or global. And actually, to be honest, we are the most global Filipinos. I mean, we have a lot of OFWs around. So we are actually the global forefront, really,
Thank you for joining our two-day B+Abble 2020 mini conference. See you next year. Stay tuned, stay healthy, stay safe, and let's keep on babbling.